Hello and welcome to Podcast by Bubba. My name is Bubba and I'm your host for this podcast. First off, I want to say sorry for not having uploaded in a while. As you can see, a lot's changed just in the background with the microphone, stuff like that. Um, what had happened, I kind of wanted to take a break because I didn't have that great of equipment, and I really didn't like uploading subpar podcasts or just subpar work in general. So I invested a little bit more. I got a boom arm now. I got a nicer microphone, webcam still the same, stuff like that. But yeah, so now I have a good software and I have a lot of stuff to get me going, so I can actually start producing quality work. So I'm excited for that. But let's get on to the podcast. Today's podcast is going to be top five TV shows that you should be watching, or if you haven't seen, you should get on Netflix right now and watch them because they're amazing. Now, this isn't coming from like a list online or anything like that. This is coming from me personally. So my top five favorite ones, my top five that I would recommend to, all my friends or family and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the first one on my list, my favorite TV show ever is The Office. The Office is an amazing, amazing TV show. There's honestly, in my opinion, there's not a TV show out there that's better. That's as well cast, as well writ. They're just amazing. I mean, the actors and actresses on there and the way that they interact with each other is fantastic. Quick thing, I might give a little bit of spoilers away throughout this podcast, so keep that in mind. If you're watching, keep that in mind that spoilers might be happening. But in general, I'll let you know. In general, my list is all pretty much comedies that don't really go too much off of a script, I guess. Like, there's not set things. Like, for example, another reason why I like The Office or love The Office is you can go into any episode, any time, and you'll have an amazing episode to watch. If you think about it, I mean, you can, like, for example, I go in sometimes, and I'll just pick a random episode if I'm bored or something like that, and I love that episode. You don't have to watch consistently to keep up, so it's not like a storyline where you go, this happened this episode, so this has to happen this. It's pretty random, but all of them, like, they're all on a very broad storyline, basically, because there's some character development that happens throughout that goes off of the time that they spent together, but it's not like on last week's episode this happened. It's not like that. But so I absolutely love The Office because of that reason, because you can just jump in at any time and it's great, and it gives you a fantastic show right there. So, like, there's no build up. You don't have to watch a lot to get to funny parts. Um, Another reason why The Office is amazing is it's because it's it's made me cry several times out of laughter. I mean, there's not a funnier show out there that I've seen than The Office. It's just so freaking hilarious. So if you're really looking for a good comedy, or if you're looking for something that you'll get a good laugh out of, definitely choose The Office. Go with The Office, and I promise you won't be disappointed. All right. So next is gonna be Parks and Rec. Now, Parks and Rec and The Office are written by the same person, Greg Daniels, I believe his name is. I don't get mad at me if that's wrong, but it's they're written by that same guy. Like, he's one of the head writers on both shows, so it's the same type of comedy. So I really love Parks and Rec because it's the same type of comedy. But what I like about Parks and Rec the most is what I like the opposite of what I've liked The Office about the most. So I like how The Office, you can just jump into any episode and you'll love it. Parks and Rec, I love the storyline of it. So it's The Office esque comedy with a really, really solid storyline. So, like, you kind of have to know what happened in the previous episode to know what's happening in this episode. And I like those types of shows, but overall Parks and Rec has done that the best, the storyline with the comedy, the best out of any show I've seen. That all of these are going to be out of any show I've seen, but it's absolutely fantastic. I love the show. It's weird, but on both on The Office and Parks and Rec, it's made me want to work in an office or in like a government building, because Parks and Rec takes place in Pawnee, Indiana, and it's the Parks and Recreation Department of the government. So that's in there, and The Office obviously takes place in an office. And just from watching those shows, I have wanted to work in an office or work at a government facility, even though I know it's nothing like those shows. Those shows are completely different, but I just love them that much that I've thought about, like, hey, I would like to work in an office, and have this same relationship, even though I know that won't happen. But Parks and Rec is just a quality pick. Something that I would probably lean more towards, like, recommending for a family member. It's a lot cleaner overall. They like, so is The Office, but sometimes The Office can get into some dirtier stuff. And like, I think it's season 1. I want to say episode 3, sexual harassment. I'm gonna check right now, guys. You're probably gonna hear some writing, because I really want to check. Did I say writing? I meant typing. Let's see how good I was. It is season 2, episode 2. Okay. I said season 1, episode 3. I knew it was in one of the beginning episodes. But season 2, like, sexual harassment, it's not the most family friendly episode. But Parks and Rec, they keep it very clean throughout. I mean, there's some parts in Parks and Rec that are a little bit but it's a quality show overall. So definitely check that one out if you have not checked out Parks and Rec yet. So third's an interesting choice. It's Chuck. If you haven't heard of Chuck, I'm not really surprised. It was pretty popular in like 2000 to 2005 ish. I'm gonna say. It's an older show, and not many people, like, when I talk about it now, not many people know about it. Chuck is the non-comedy show that I have. The 5 shows that I have are all comedy shows. But Chuck is a non-comedy show. It has some comedy in it, but it's mostly based around it's like a drama kind of. I don't know. I have to spoil some of it if you're going to understand what it is. So basically, this guy Chuck, that works at a Buy More, basically a Best Buy. He works at a Buy More. Okay, long story short, he gets a supercomputer downloaded in his brain, and then he has to become a spy because it has all the government's secrets on it. That's all I'm gonna say. And that really, you'll learn all that in the first episode. So don't get mad that I spoiled something, because you'll learn that in the first episode. And it really it's a different show to watch, because it's not loaded with comedy. It's loaded with poor action scenes, because you can like pause some of the action scenes and see that it's not Chuck or Charles. What is his last name? Bartowski. That's his last name. Yeah. You can see that it's not him. But so it's filled with poorly filmed action scenes and a lot of like drama, which is kind of weird. But it's based kind of like off the love story between Chuck and his CIA handler, the CIA agent that they sent to make sure that he wasn't going to like spill all the secrets or go crazy, basically to protect him. They start to like fall in love, and it's all based around that. It's the back and forth and everything like that. And so it's a really, really interesting show, and it kept me coming back and wanting more because I just wanted to see what was going to happen. It killed me inside when they left on a cliffhanger. So they filmed it very well and like wrote it very well. Just like if you're going there because it's a spy show, don't really expect too great of action just because it's really not. But another thing, it really, really reminded me of Pam and Jim's story on The Office. So back to the first one, everything can remind me of The Office. I'm not joking. Like, you can say a word, I can think of an Office episode or how it relates to me with The Office. But it really, Chuck and Sarah really remind me of Jim and Pam. So like at first it's kind of like like it's kind of forbidden. They start to do stuff. Chuck puts himself on the line a couple times. She says no. She puts herself on the line. He says no. It's like it's a very back and forth, give and take type of romance, I guess. I don't know what to call it. It's like a love story, basically. It is. And it reminded me a lot of Jim and Pam's story in The Office, and so that's why I really think I took to it so much. That's why I really think I really liked that show, is because it reminded me a lot of Jim and Pam in The Office. But that is a quality pick. I got introduced to that by my sister, actually, and I don't recommend what I did when I first started watching Chuck. What happened was my brother-in-law and sister, they were watching it, and I came over to their house, and they had it on just on the TV, and they're like, "Oh, this is a good show. You should watch it." And it was like the 4th season, like 10th episode, and I just started watching it there. So I got I don't know. I don't recommend starting it that late. Definitely start from the beginning and watch, because that's another one of those ones where it's a set timeline. So each episode, it's kind of a set timeline. Like what they do in that episode, like actually physically, so like stop a bomb or whatever, that doesn't matter on like the short or the long, in the long run. That doesn't matter. That's just like what's happening that episode. What really matters is going to be like the Chuck and Sarah back and forth, basically. That's what's going to affect, the long end. So that's why you want to watch them all together, because you'll get that whole story. But yeah, that's another quality pick. My fourth one is The League. If you like fantasy football and you like comedies, watch The League right now. It is absolutely hilarious. Although it's not very family friendly. That's one thing I have to say. The League is one of like the grosser shows, I'll say. Like they say some of the grosser stuff on there, but it's absolutely hilarious. It's based about these like 6 guys who are all really close friends, and they're in a fantasy football league together, and every single episode is a week. So it's like, oh, I'm playing this person this week, and they'll try to like mess with that person or something like that. It's a really, really funny show. There's a lot of like, honestly, there's not much like character, I don't want to say interaction, but like how Chuck and Sarah were, Jim and Pam, how there's like character stories that unfold with that. There's not a lot of that. There's, maybe 1 or 2 episodes you watch this to see what happens with this character and this character, and then after that it's done. You really don't watch it for the whole character. You just watch it because it's a funny show, and they're always just messing with each other, and there's weird random things that they get themselves into. So that's a really funny show to watch, and that's a good show to watch if you like fantasy football. And then last but not least, Idiot Abroad. Idiot Abroad was one of the first shows that I actually watched on Netflix, and it was hilarious. If you actually don't know, Ricky Gervais, he was the star he was Michael Scott in the British Office, which the U.S. Office adapted to or took over, basically, like, did another Office, but U.S. version. He was a Michael Scott in that Office. But basically, one of his good friends, Carl Pilkington, is this guy who just kind of hates everything. He's good at where he's at. He doesn't want to go he doesn't want to do anything else. He's fine where he is. And they send him around the world, basically. The first season, he goes to all 7 wonders of the world. And he's just, the funny thing about it is he's just complaining the whole time, because normal people, like people who don't get that opportunity, they would absolutely love that. Everything would be awesome. I mean, maybe a couple things would go wrong and that would suck. But in the long run, like they'd be like, yeah, that was one of the best experiences of my life. He absolutely hates all of it. And there's actually been a lot of talk, not like recently because it's still a fairly old show, but there was a lot of talk if he was actually like that or if that was a character that, because I think he is a writer actually or something like that. He does something in the television community. So they were really concerned. Well, not a lot, like really concerned, but a lot of people thought that he was actually writing the character and acting the character. He didn't actually act like that. And they had 3 seasons of it, and it's absolutely hilarious. That one's not going to be as family friendly either because I don't really think they blur any of the curse words out or anything like that. So don't really show like your little kids that or something like that. But if you're looking just for a funny show to watch, that's absolutely hilarious. Just because you look at the situation that he's in, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're going to go see the pyramids," and everyone be like, "That's awesome," but then they put him in like the worst hotel. They make him like ride across the desert on a camel and like all this stuff. So he's seeing all the 7 wonders of the world, but not how everyone else would see it. He's seeing it from like the worst possible side, and so he's just complaining the whole time. And that's what's hilarious about it, is because to him this is just horrible. He's sitting in a horrible like hotel. Like when you see that episode, it's nasty. But right outside his windows are the pyramids. So like normal people, they'd go to the pyramids and have a blast because they'd have nicer stuff. They'd have a nicer hotel. They'd drive there. He like is in a crappy hotel. He's with all these gross camels walking across the desert. So it's really funny to see that dynamic. And that's why I think I love the show so much, is because it's an interesting kind of play on like looking at all these amazing things. He just hates it. So but that'll wrap up my list right now for my top 5 favorite TV shows: The Office, Parks and Rec, Chuck, The League, and Idiot Abroad. This isn't really a podcast. This is just kind of more of a video to kind of get back in the groove of things. Like I said, I got a lot of new equipment and stuff like that to actually, just start producing quality content. And honestly, like, I think I said this before in other podcasts. I'm not like trying to become insanely popular or something like that. Like, of course that would be amazing, but honestly, what I'm really using YouTube as is a training tool, basically, because what I want to do is become a radio broadcaster, and this right here is just having good on mic dialogue and stuff like that. So, I just really appreciate if you guys gave me some feedback in the comments, tell me how I can actually improve this, make this more enjoyable for you guys. And also tell me if you guys want me to do my top 5 favorite movies, because I definitely have that list, and I think it's a pretty good one because they're my favorite movies. But all right, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, leave a comment, subscribe if you guys want to, and yeah, have a good one.